questions now. I'm a little confused as to when the city first learned of this. We've heard dates of 5/23, and then today it was 5/25, but you indicated it was also on Friday, the 5/25, and as I understand it, 5/23 levels were up, 5/24 levels were down, 5/25 the levels came back up. Am I getting that right, Lacey?
So yeah, let me.
Yeah, if you can, that's, and then I'll have some follow-up questions from Mr. Emery.
Yeah. So just to one of the things to remember is that delay time between when the sample was collected and when the results were received.
Right.
So yes, we see that data from May 23rd, but the data was received May 25th, which was when we began our consultation. As soon as we received that data, we began consultation with the Oregon Health Authority to talk about these levels and triggered in, we were already doing additional sampling. They recommended doing additional distribution system sampling.
When did we receive the 5/25 data, the data from the 5/25 testing?
So 5/25 data was, so 5 was Friday, right? So
yes.
we received the data on Saturday, May 26th, which would have been from Thursday. And we received data on Sunday, May 27th, which would have been from Friday sampling.
And am I correct, and this is, I think, for both of you, but I'm going to direct most questions to Mr. Emme, was the date that the 5/25 data was received, meaning Sunday,
Correct.
the 28th, was that the date where the city in consultation with the Oregon Health Authority started thinking, man, we may have a problem here?
We had already been in dialogue. I'm sorry, was the question
You were
addressed?
already in consultation with them, consulting with them. My question is, up until that point, you were saying we got to monitor this and watch it, but we don't know. But it seems to me like the date we received the material testing from the 25th is when we started to say, uh-oh, we really better look at this a little more.
And I'll speak to this. We had begun treatment modifications. So as part of the increased monitoring and adding in some sample locations, the dialogue between Oregon Health Authority and the City of Salem was to look at what we're doing for treatment, how can we modify that, where do we think these results are coming from, looking at going to blending our groundwater source, kicking on our ASR wells, starting the city of Kaiser and the city of Salem intertie. So we were making all of those adjustments.
Thank you, and I understand. Do you have more? I don't want to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I understand all that. That's what Mr. Emme said. That's what Mr. Fernandez says. That's what we all talked about. But at some point, you and the health authority moved from, let's just monitor this. Let's try some different tests. Let's pull in other people. Let's discuss things with experts. Let's try other kind of filters, all that sort of stuff. At some point you realize this isn't working. So that's my question is, when did the, and I really want, you may not know this, I'm interested with Mr. Emme, and when did you and the city decide that we need to move to the next step to consider whether or not we're going to issue an advisory?
Well, when we had a conference call on Tuesday with the city and with EPA.
So on Saturday and Monday, you were not discussing the potential of moving to an advisory?
We had discussed that since Friday.
And why did you start at Friday when you didn't have the test results from Thursday yet? Because you were concerned already, even without the Thursday test reports?
I think what really triggered the concern is we had never seen these toxins make it through the treatment system before. That was entirely new, even at levels that were below health advisory levels. Seeing some of those toxins bleed through early on kind of raised the alarms.
So let me kind of ask this from another angle. There is some information out there that says part of the reason the city did not issue the advisory warning until late or Tuesday afternoon was because in consultation with your organization, you had advised the city to not issue the advisory until that date.
That's not entirely accurate. We didn't advise them not to issue it. We made them aware of the health advisory information from EPA that included this 10-day duration.
So on the Tuesday, did you advise the city to issue the advisory?
We did recommend that.
And what changed between the time we got the results on Saturday or maybe Sunday? What changed between those two dates, the date we had those results, and the time that you advised the city to issue the advisory?
I think one thing was, and this is purely kind of subjective, was within the Oregon Health Authority and among our staff, the confidence in the city's ability to resolve this with operational changes. It didn't seem like the city had that much confidence that was being effective at that point in time.
That didn't, you didn't develop that opinion until Tuesday?
Right. When we discussed it.
The treatment wasn't working, et cetera.
Among the group, the larger group, right.
So, if on Sunday or Monday, the city would have said, for whatever reason, we think that we need to issue the advisory now, would you have counseled against doing that?
No. It's entirely, again, we're in a non-regulatory environment. We're here to share information, to try to work together to solve a problem. We would not do that. It's really the city's choice. So we made that clear throughout this process.
So I would guess, and then I'll yield the floor to other people, but I may have some more questions. So I would guess this whole thing, because of what we have talked about in terms of no guidelines, no regulations, etc., no experience, at some point it becomes sort of an art rather than a science, and it becomes sort of a you should do what your logic and best judgment tells you to do, as opposed to what the statistics and science might tell you to do.
That's fairly accurate. I
Thank
mean, we do have training and you know, as scientists and engineers among our staff, but at some point we do have to make judgments with the basis of incomplete information.
And it's also on the basis of the single purpose is to protect public health. That's what you said your agency is.
Absolutely.
Councilor Kaiser?